So, because I think you're super interesting and genuine guy, I have to ask this question because this is kind of the spirit of the show to really dig and
Yeah,
explore from all different
sure.
angles. In that overall success picture, um, my assumption is that there's that same end objective of it, and it helps people. You didn't necessarily mention that in the answer, right? So somebody could look at that and say, "Oh, see, like it's not real, it's not genuine." And more importantly, what I'm more interested in, because who cares what somebody might say,
Yeah.
and this is me projecting on you. I'm always questioning myself, like, am I really that? Is that really what I want? Am I really being honest with myself? So just curious your take on that kind of response to it.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, I think as far as being live on a podcast goes, I'm not exactly expounding on like my deepest
Sure.
I guess insecurities or beliefs or truths or whatever. But I mean, I guess I absolutely like helping people is part of this whole thing. That's why I mentioned alternative medicines because I think something like we're seeing in Oregon right now as far as ketamine being legalized, mushrooms being legalized, LSD, and these other
Yeah.
alternative medicines being legalized, or I guess decriminalized is where this is the current standpoint. But those things are very interesting to me. In the same, I mean, like I told you, I do research on everything, and
Yeah.
I've done extensive research on these alternative medicines, and I see just such incredible value in them that's kind of why I'm focusing so much on the change of medicine, kind of getting rid of the idea that we need pharmaceuticals for
Mm.
everything, because you want to talk about helping people. I think the first thing we can do is stop with the pharmaceutical just prescribe
Sure.
and move on. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that people die every day from opioid use and we're still prescribing them is absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah.
We hand people a bottle of pills and say, hey, make sure you don't drink any alcohol,
Good
and then
luck.
they do, and then they die, and it's
Yeah.
just horrible. It's absolutely horrible to watch
Yeah.
this. So, part of my whole thing is just getting into a medicine field that can't kill you. You
Mm.
could, I'm not advocating for anyone to overdose on anything, but if you overdose on CBD, I mean, there's no overdose
You sleep too
level
much like
better.
you did, right? Yeah. You fall asleep
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you
You
said.
sleep
Yeah.
too much. Yeah. I mean, of course, there are like, you know, toxic levels of anything. I
Sure.
think I read yesterday, if you drink 1,200 glasses of milk, you'll die. Yeah,
Hmm.
because it's just that's the toxic level.
At
That's
some
how
point.
much.
Yeah.
Exactly. At some point, it'll be bad. But you know, opioids are kind of just one pill and a drink.
Yeah.
That's the toxic level of opioids. So, getting into a new like space in the world where we just kind of get into a more safe medicine world.
Mm.
Get into a space where there's just less fear of like, oh, if I have a beer, am I gonna die tonight? Like that's where I want to get out of as far as helping people and make sure that people aren't just dropping over dead every day.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate that answer. And I think, as I was saying, like for me, I guess my calling maybe, and the reason why I want to do the show is I
Mm-hmm.
think the two dynamics at play. One, what we said before, we live in a world where there's so much misinformation. There's so many people not playing by the rules we're talking about. There's so much, there's so little clarity on what's going on, right? So
Yeah.
hard for people to tell. But the other part of that is there's lots of good people trying to do good things and help, but it just gets flooded out. And my thought is conversations like this, being authentic, really asking questions,
Mm-hmm.
just not to discredit somebody, not to, make myself or anybody else look better, but just say, hey, let's just explore, let's just understand.
Yeah.
I think it helps give people that are listening more clarity. And if somebody is thinking about using CBD, maybe they say like, hey, this guy Jake, he seems like he's pretty legit and pretty genuine. Maybe I'll reach out to him. So I think it's cool. I think it's cool just to kind of explore our own minds and think of it in that way.